I don't really know how I feel about Spirit of Friendship. The messages are beautiful. There are some positives, and there are some things that don't really work very well. But it's hard to dislike this kind of film because I think it had the best of intentions. I think ultimately it could help some people, particularly some young people, but people of any age, really. So I can't say it's a bad film, but it definitely needed work. This was released in 2024. It's directed and written by Danny LeGare, and we have a cast including Carter Grassi as Billy. We also have Jeremy London and Sal Rendino. And Billy is, at the start of the film, he is an adult. And to help his children through a loss, he is talking about the time when he, as a young boy, lost his mother. And that's the bulk of the film, of young Billy trying to come to terms with this. He is desperate to find a way to communicate with his deceased mother, and his father is pushing back. His father is telling him to basically just forget about that idea, and Billy obviously thinks that means forgetting about his mother. I also don't agree with his father's perspective here. I don't think it's very helpful, which is definitely coming across in the film, and it's all about Billy's experience, his emotions, and the varying attitudes of people around him. And he has some really supportive friends, some not so supportive friends, and as I said, his father is not exactly being the most helpful, but his father is also grieving. It's just his father is grieving in a way that's different to the way Billy wants to handle his emotions, and that definitely creates a difficult situation. A lot of this is set in a cemetery, and it's absolutely beautiful. It is so gorgeous. I don't know where the filming location is, not on IMDb, but if anybody knows where it's filmed, please feel free to let me know. It is visually a really beautiful film. It's visually quite stunning, actually. And the narrative, it's very slow. Not a lot happens over about an hour and 25 minutes. But at the same time, I think that, while definitely a con in some regards, I think it could also be a pro. Because I can just imagine a young person or anybody dealing with grief, dealing with a loss the way Billy is, and just using the film kind of as a distraction, but also as a method of gaining some positive messages and receiving that comfort and warmth of the understanding that the characters have, particularly Billy. And the slower pace definitely helps to make that a calmer, easier journey. If it was a really fast-paced narrative, I don't think it would be as comforting or as supportive. I feel like it does need to have quite a slow, steady pace. Maybe not quite as slow as it is in the film, but I can definitely see that being a benefit as well as a drawback. A lot of the acting is very, very wooden. Not from Billy. Young Billy, played by Carter Grassi, I thought he did a really great job, particularly when the character was angry. I really, truly believed that he was wrestling with those emotions, with that anger. I really bought into that, and I thought he did a really good job with that. And we do have, as I said, some gorgeous messages. Some of the dialogue is really beautiful. Some of it is not great. Some of it's very corny and unrealistic and unbelievable. But some of the dialogue is very well written and really beautifully delivers these messages of comfort and support. And ultimately, I guess it's a fine film. I think a lot of people can find some comfort and support in this kind of story and with these kinds of characters. And it's very well filmed. The camera works very good. Visually, it's great. Really gorgeous to look at. Some of the performances are okay. Billy, as I said, was a great, well-performed character and a very likeable protagonist as well. And I have to say, his father, even though his father was very irritating with his own attitudes and how unhelpful he was being towards Billy, I think it was very clear that this is because he was trying to deal with his grief in his own way. And his method of grieving in that moment was not the same as Billy's. It's not what Billy wanted. And I think that's really quite important to show that actually not everybody has the exact same approach to these situations. And I like the fact that it's a story within a story. Also kind of helps to highlight that grief is something people of every generation will experience. Everybody at some point, well, most people will experience grief at some point. And I think it does a good job of highlighting that. We have some interesting characters along the way, mostly a couple of the adults that we meet. I won't say too much about those, but we meet an interesting character in the cemetery who lost his own wife And I won't say any more about that, but I thought he was quite interesting. So I guess in general, Spirit of Friendship is an okay film, but I think there's a lot of benefit. It definitely has a lot of room for improvement, particularly with the specifics of the narrative. It is quite slow with some of the acting as well. It's very wooden. Not so much with the lead characters, but with the supporting characters. But that being said, I think it's an okay film. If it sounds like it might appeal to you, if you think you might benefit from it, or if you're looking for something that's just comforting and heartwarming, then Spirit of Friendship might be a good one to look out for.